So today, I'm in a new vehicle category. This is the 2022 Hyundai Kona Electric. So while I actually own an electric car, a Tesla Model 3, this is actually the first electric car I've actually fully reviewed on this channel. So let's dive in. Hey folks, welcome back to techgooch, and today we're going through the 2022 all-electric Hyundai Kona. Now, I think the good thing about this is that I am coming from a perspective of as an EV owner, right? I have a Tesla Model 3 that's been my primary vehicle since March, so several months now. I know what range anxiety is. I know where I needed to charge and how fast I should be able to charge and how to actually do this. And of course, I'm still learning. Hey, appreciate that one. It's a learning experience, of course, and you'll never stop learning, like anything, to be honest about it. But this vehicle comes in about $10,000 less than my Model 3, so you can't really put it in as a apples to apples kind of scenario, although we are going to discuss it because, well, a lot of vehicles are going to be compared to the Tesla Model 3. It's as low as Tesla's going to go, but it puts it in a market where a lot of people can attain that vehicle. Where does that vehicle sit compared to something like this? Now, I reviewed the 2022 Hyundai Kona all-wheel drive gas vehicle. I actually really liked that vehicle. That one actually surprised me more than I thought it was going to. And so I can actually pertain a lot of what I learned about that into this because it's the same vehicle. This just has the electric powertrain in it. Now range, this is getting 258 miles of range. So we can talk about range anxiety all we want because I've lived it and I know what it's like. It's not as crazy as everybody tries to make it out to be. In my opinion, it isn't. But 258 miles, not a crazy amount, definitely 100 miles less than what I'm going to get in my Model 3. And it is something at least to point out, right? Because this is not going to have your trip long range. This is great range for around the city or at least local regional area, but you're not going to travel across the country. It just doesn't have the range. It also doesn't have the supercharging capability. It does support both the J1772 as well as the CCS adapter plug, which pretty much all non-Teslas are going to do anymore. But you're not going to be able to, get a charge in less than an hour, really, in this guy. It's just not going to happen. Although they claim fast charging, yeah, it's one of those vehicles that there's a lot that I really like about this vehicle, but there definitely is some that I'm not as fond of. Specifically, if you've been listening, you can hear a little bit of a whine, and I'm not going to say a bad thing about that so much, but it is different. Now, my Tesla has a little bit of a whine. All electric vehicles do, but not like this one does. And I have been in vehicles, so for instance, the Toyota RAV4 plug-in, the Prime model, RAV4 Prime, that has a really wicked electric hum when you're in all-electric mode. This one's not as bad as that, but it is something to point out because it is more noticeable than with mine. Now, it's more noticeable at lower speeds, too, so it does change at how fast you're going. Now, you can also tell that this vehicle wasn't designed purely as an electric vehicle. While it is all electric, it absolutely is, you can tell that this is built on a gasoline vehicle platform. For instance, where you would typically find some nice features that you get in a lot of electric vehicles, for instance, the frunk, this doesn't have it. And we are going to actually showcase that here in just a few minutes. So I think before I ramble on another 10 minutes about this vehicle, which I do like the vehicle, I'll say that real quick, but it does have some differences. Let's get out. Let's do our standard walk around and interior go around real quick just to show that because I do want to show that. I will probably abbreviate it a little bit because I did the 2022 Hyundai Kona all-wheel drive. So that's going to be, same look and everything. So that said, let's get outside. Let's start there. So first off, obviously, you're not going to hear an engine run, but you are going to hear the air conditioning pump going. Obviously, the other thing that you're going to notice different than the gas version is there's the charge door. Now, I will say this real quick. I don't like the charge door in the front of the vehicle. I think it should be on the side, in the back. A lot of other options. I'm not a fan of putting it up front. There's many reasons why. And right now it should be unlocked, so we can actually pop it open and show you. So you have this big door, and then you have dust caps, you know, to keep the stuff out. I think they, in all reality, and I know I'm going to come in biased because I have a Tesla, but I think that the Tesla plug is far superior to the CCS plug. That's just my personal thoughts. Especially, I don't have to have these, you know, like just like on a gas engine, you have the door for the gas tank. It's nice not having to worry about that kind of stuff. But I digress. So let's go around the vehicle. Good looking vehicle. LED headlights, LED fog lights, all aluminum rims on this guy. Solid vehicle all around. I really do like the Kona. I liked the gas Kona, to be honest. And of course, this being the electric version, there's our badge. We're getting much better fuel economy, if you want to look at it that way. Equivalent fuel economy. So, all in all, good looking vehicle. Let's go inside. Okay, so let's get in the vehicle. This does have the push button locks, but let's just get in. We'll start with here in a minute, but we're going to start all the way to the left. Standard window controls, door locks, mirrors. We have parking sensors. We have traction control, but we do have a way to automatically basically set the charge port to automatically lock. You can turn that off as well if you don't want that. Standard Hyundai steering wheel controls where we can actually go through pages on the display here, up and down. You have speed, you know, your cruise control up and down, steering wheel, basically your lane departure, stuff like that, and steering assist. Over here on the left is where we have our volume control, our track. You know, we can change modes as well on the actual radio, and place calls, things like that. Now, standard on all Hyundais, one of the things that really gets me, volume up is up, basically up on this lever, but next track is down. I don't understand it. It is what it is. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but it is something that I wish you could program that to be up, because next is typically up in my brain. Standard sticks for light controls and steering controls, and of course blinker and all that stuff. I'm not going to go over that. This has the same basically entertainment package that we're going to have on, oh, interesting, where you're going to have on all the Hyundai Konas. So we're not going to go through all this at all, but we can actually, you know, go through setup. This does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but you do have to plug it in. So that's one thing that I do wish it did have the capability of doing wireless, especially with a modern vehicle like this. I do wish that. Climate control, pretty standard, pretty basic. If you actually do like the temperature up and down, it's going to be up on the screen to tell you, but it is a knob control. I do like that. We do have a full auto mode, which I have turned off just to keep the fan noise down. Driver only if you want right now, because I'm the only one in here. Essentially some things that'll actually try to make sure this is a little more efficient. We just have, you know, our defroster modes, things like that. Here, we do have a USB port, and that's going to be for the radio. Does charge as well. And then a Qi charger here. This vehicle, for some weird reason, it does not like my MagSafe case on my iPhone, so that is something that I like to point out. It does start charging, and then it cuts off, then it starts charging again, and then it cuts off, kind of like the Toyotas do a lot. I do like to point that out because not all vehicles are like that, and this is one that does that. This is a push button start, which is over here. So you do have to still push button to start this. So like right now the vehicle's on, right? And then we have our, if I push the brake on, drive mode, we have park, we have reverse, neutral. It's all right here just by pushing a button. I do like this more than like the lever action, I do. It does take up a decent amount of space on a center console that could be used other places, to be honest about it. And knowing what you can do, so like Mercedes and Tesla, which uses basically Tesla, is all right here. I actually like it here better than I do down here because it takes up less room in places that actually have real estate that could be used for other things. So I think this whole piece here, which you can obviously see is from a gear selector shifter, it's just takes up a lot of space for something that's just literally push a button. So I hope and I'm praying that the vehicle companies come up with something that doesn't take this much room, that you can utilize this for something that's more usable on a moment-to-moment basis. This does have heated seats and cooled seats. Right now I have my cooled seats on, and of course we have 3 modes on both the driver and passenger side for both. Drive mode we can actually change in here, so we can have Eco, Sport, and if you push and hold the button, that'll put you in Eco Plus. Now, as soon as you go into Eco Plus, you'll notice real quick that it starts changing stuff in here where it actually is trying to reduce your energy usage as much as possible. I went back to Eco mode to keep the air conditioning blowing in here so it doesn't get too hot. But that is something to say about Eco Plus mode. It is all about saving as much energy as possible. So if you know you need to squeeze as much juice out of this battery as possible, Eco Plus, push and hold. I did want to say this as well. Another difference is no gas, right? But we still have, rather than gas, we have battery. And so right now we're approaching half a tank, 174 miles of range in the vehicle right now. But of course, that's going to depend on where you're driving, how fast you're going, and how aggressive your driving is, right? There's a lot to take in there. But it does have that range capability to at least let you know that. Glove box real quick. Standard glove box, nothing fancy. So let's see, up here we do have a standard HomeLink rear view mirror, place for your sunglasses, and this does have a standard sunroof, just a sunroof, open close here, and then just manual close here. So let's go in the back seat. All right, rear seat. So I do have the captain or the driver's seat, I apologize, set for my height. I'm 5'11". Back seat, a little tight, right? Not crazy. I can spread my legs out a little bit. It's not too bad. We do have a charge port back here, just a single one. I will point that out. Just a simple light and center console, 2 drink holders. So that's what we have in the back seat. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy. Pretty basic, but power mirrors and power door windows and stuff. So blah, blah, blah. All right, let's go to the back. Okay, here we go. So we are going to do our luggage test to really showcase how much luggage is in here. So that'll be next here in a second. But we do have our standard here. Now with an EV, I would think that there's going to be not a whole lot of storage back here because there's not a huge car, but the batteries aren't going to be back here. So still have all of our kits for our flats and everything like that. All that's back here. In here, I didn't even look in here yet. There's the charger. So that's the charger that comes with it, which is just a standard level 1 charger. Not going to charge your car very fast. It probably takes a day to charge it from empty, but it is in there. Well, part of the answer is 4. To be able to close this and still not be able to see them, it's going to be 4. Now, if you were to remove this guy here, we could put a 5th one on top. And if you were to put the seats down, obviously we'd get quite a few more. But 4 carry-on suitcases in the back. Okay, let's pop the hood. Standard hood. Standard hood latch even. But you can see this here's your big 12-volt battery, real easy to access. And it's like having a real small engine in there. Lots of space to work. They could have figured out a way to actually utilize this space more for storage, but they didn't. And that's probably just because of the placement of everything. So, yeah, this is, I think, a waste up here, in my opinion. Okay, so to finish up here, at the price point this is at, like I said, this is more than $10,000 less now, at least. Technically, about $8,000 less than what I paid for my Tesla when I got it. But if I was to compare it today when I would go to buy this vehicle, if I could, if it was available at least to me, it's more than $10,000 less than my Model 3 equivalent. Now, if we were to compare it to the Tesla Model 3 rear-wheel drive, just the rear-wheel drive standard range version, that's what we have to compare it to in terms of what I would have to compare it to in the Tesla lineup. Now, range, 258 miles for $43,000. I think I'd like to see that a little bit more. If it was closer to the 280 range, I think that would be a solid range. Not bad at 258. It isn't. It really isn't. I think this vehicle right here makes more sense once the Tesla supercharger network opens up to it. That's coming. So, and what they've said is by the end of this year, that should be open to people that have non-Tesla vehicles, because you're going to need a charging network that this can plug into that can charge as rapidly as it possibly can. But even then, we don't know how fast it's going to be able to charge at that. We could figure it out, I guess, probably pretty close, but that's where these vehicles come in. If you're looking at buying an around town vehicle that's can comfortably fit 4 people, and more that SUV type version, this is not a bad vehicle, especially because you can get this still with the government rebates on it. So that's a huge bonus, because then it doesn't even compare. This is way cheaper than anything you're going to get that's, you know, from Tesla specifically. So there's a lot to look at and a lot to dig in at. There are things that, like I said, that are missing on this vehicle. For instance, the frunk. I understand that some people think that's a goofy little thing that you're not going to use. I use it. My wife uses it. We like the frunk. We really do. And especially if we're traveling further, we really like it. But at the same time, we actually use the frunk regularly as if we go to a restaurant, we have leftovers, we bring them back in the frunk so that they don't get any odors in the vehicle at all. We love it. We really do. And we've kind of become accustomed to having it. So it's not a big necessity, but it is a nice feature. So that's one thing that I will say. 2, and I understand this is not as an expensive car, but with how everything's going today, we need to have more infotainment stuff in terms of wireless capability. Like, for instance, if you're going to use CarPlay and an Android Auto and have that capability, it should be wireless. It should be easy to access on a larger platform. So, and I think that's coming. I really do, on all these vehicles. I do like the driver display. I wish that was more customizable for what I wanted to put there. And you get that on higher end vehicles, but it is something to point out on all vehicles that have, especially in this case, a full digital display. That's a software thing that they could add to this because they already have the digital display. So I would like to see them add that. And I think if they did, then they wouldn't have to worry about putting as big of a screen here anyway, because you got 2 customizable displays. So pointing things out, and I'm trying to be as thorough as I can, as well as pointed as I can on this vehicle, because in the end, I like the vehicle. It's a solid EV. It really is. It drives good. A little whiny comparatively, but it drives good. It gets good fuel economy, right? It really does. The thing is that I've been driving this around. I have, I don't know, upwards of 60, 80 miles on it. And it's actually been very economical. And so economical vehicles are always a huge bonus, specifically if you're not giving up a whole lot to get them. And of course, EVs right now are fantastic with how much cheaper they are to operate than a gasoline vehicle. Yes, I don't have to put gas in this, and gas is still ridiculously priced. So my electricity rates are a lot cheaper, so filling this up is a lot cheaper than filling up a gas vehicle. But number 2, I don't have to worry about oil changes. That's a huge bonus there. I don't have to worry about all that stuff. The only thing I really have to worry about is rotating the darn tires and making sure that everything just kind of stays maintained in terms of the battery, right? So all in all, what do I think of the Hyundai Kona Electric? I like it. It's not a perfect vehicle. There's some things that they can upgrade. That's every vehicle. There's never such thing as a perfect vehicle. Would I buy it? And that's the thing. Yes and no. Now that I know that Tesla's supercharger is going to be opening to non-Tesla vehicles, I have a much higher rate of I'd be interested in non-Tesla vehicles, because I think that's what they're not only their biggest selling point is how their vehicles operate and how smart they are and how customizable they are in terms of what you can do with them. But the charging network is second to none. I think give it another year and the charging capability that you're going to get on these non-Tesla vehicles is going to be fantastic. It's going to open things up. But the big thing is government rebates. If you can still get one on a vehicle like this and you're looking at an EV, that is a huge selling point because that's a lot of incentive. So in the end, to be honest, it's worth a look. So if you like the looks of it and you're looking at an EV and the range is within where you're thinking you want to be, specifically around town or around region area, the Hyundai Kona EV for the money is not a bad option. So take a peek at it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Share, subscribe, like the video, give it a thumbs up. And as always, thanks for watching here on techgooch. Thanks for watching to the end. And this is my last vehicle for a little bit. This is the last in the series that I've gotten, so it's going to be a little longer before my next vehicle review. But I have hopes. Now that I've gotten one EV in, I definitely want to get some more. And I will say this, I will put a video out on my Tesla. I have been meaning to do it for a while, so that's going to be coming. And now I have a train coming. And there's the train. So perfect time to stop. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you here on next time on techgooch. Ding, ding, ding.